Hey everyone, it's Frances. Welcome back to my channel talking about media literacy and media literacy education. Today's topic is super exciting. I thought I would start off with something that can be pretty easy and relatable, and that is using media literacy as a tool to critically analyze film and television, which is so exciting for me to talk about. Because film and television is something I'm so passionate about. I love discourse on films. I love discourse on different shows that I'm watching and the general population is watching as well, pop culture shows that come out every once in a while. I love talking about them. I love thinking critically about film and television. I love being able to compare interpretations and messages that I get from them and what other people get from them. But to be able to look at films and shows in a more media literacy lens to it, I think the biggest thing is to be able to think critically. I think film and television is a super easy place to start off with when you are sort of practicing media literacy and training yourself to be more media literate, if you will. That's definitely why I am sort of starting off the topics talking about film and television first, because it's super relatable. I know that if I throw out some sort of reference, I'm sure a few people will understand it, and it's just fun to talk about these things. Why not get started with something that I really want to talk about? When it comes to definitely consuming film and television, is that in the same way that every media message is intentional and has some sort of real purpose behind its creation, film and television is no different. It's just a different medium for the media to be expressed in. You have to take into consideration that the writer, the director, the producer, the editor, all of the different people that go into making a film or a show, every single part of it is intentional and has meaning behind it and is very much calculated by the content creators or showrunners, producers, what have you, whatever you call them, filmmakers, all that good stuff. They have all put in a decent amount of time thinking about what's going to be produced on the screen and what's going to show up on the screen. They are very intentional about that. So just keep that in mind when you are consuming a movie or a show, is that the creators did whatever you're seeing on the screen on purpose. In preparation for this video and this topic of media literacy especially, I interviewed one of my favorite professors at Seattle University in the communications department, Dr. Evans, and we had such an amazing conversation surrounding media literacy and media literacy education, and we also delved a little bit into film and television because he said that was more of his specialty when it comes to media literacy education. So I love that we could have a really cool conversation around it. One of the examples he used was critically analyzing the popular TV show Riverdale on the CW, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity to bash on Riverdale a little bit, but at an educational expense, I will promise that. So for today's episode, I'm gonna do a sort of comparison between Riverdale and the Netflix original Sex Education, because I just finished the second season that just came out, and it is so good and really makes me believe in the future of this young adult themed TV shows with actors who are sort of at least closer to that age and portray real storylines. I highly recommend Sex Education if you haven't watched it yet. It is, I wish I had a show like this growing up. Let me know your thoughts if you actually do like it though. I would love to talk about it with someone. Let's just take Riverdale for example, whose main characters are all basically white or white passing. I feel like Camila. So yeah, let's take Riverdale, whose main characters are basically all white, or white passing, with these really insanely crafted storylines and plotlines. I'll be honest, I tried to get back into Riverdale. I was really into it during the first season just because of all the hype around it, and I was a huge fan of the comics when I was a kid, but the show is just kind of wild and hard for me to follow, and when I tried to get back into it, I really couldn't. Hurt my head to watch Riverdale, and I truly think it still would if I tried it right now. They're all weirdly in love with each other. Two main couples, Betty and Jughead, and then Archie and Veronica, definitely a heteronormative story right there. In both, these are the four main characters, the pivotal like characters of the entire show, and they are each like in love with each other, and it's weird and kind of incestual because they've all at least kissed each other as well, I think, besides Archie and Jack. Anyway, whatever. I can maybe count off like 4 people of color that I know of in the show, and they're all side characters, and it's not like they ever serve like a real purpose. They kind of just add more drama to everything. I mean, I guess it's high school. Even though there are 4 characters who are people of color, again, they're side characters and their storylines aren't ever really like brought up. I feel like the Riverdale like show producers just kind of threw in a couple like people of color in there and were like, hey, diversity, check, but no, that doesn't count as diversity. Only one of the like main-ish characters is gay, but they like portray him in a really like extra light, I think. I think they make him like so obsessed with like sex and like hooking up with people that it just like seems like a fetishization of like an LGBTQ character rather than like a real complex person, you know? The storylines are so intense. I feel like they get all tangled up. All of the authority figures in their lives are like caught up in some scheme with each other. I don't know. It's crazy. You guys should watch Riverdale and let me know, just to like think about the stuff that this show creates. My camera died for a hot second there, so we were briefly interrupted, but we're all good. Moving forward. So now you have a show like Sex Education that is just amazing. Love watching it. Basically, this teenage boy in this like, I don't know, weird British suburban countryside kind of place. His mom is a sex therapist, and he's sort of trying to navigate his own like sex life while all the other teenagers around him are also trying to navigate it. But like everyone has all these different like notions and information about like what sex entails. Like the premise of the show brings up really good ways to discuss topics that haven't usually been taboo in even just in like regular day-to-day life, but never before have I seen sex talked about this way before in a TV show. And it's really educational. Like you learn about, you know, queer sex and, you know, the spectrum of asexuality is even brought up in one of the episodes. And you just get a lot of representation from a lot of different like backgrounds and identities. Like these kids are so special and they have like very complex lives and like different parts of themselves that make them them, but like each of the characters do get like a good amount of attention. Like each of their storylines are like honored and respected, and you can tell that like the show creators really took the time to like craft them and like be intentional and know that like they're producing this show and they have a sort of duty and like they need to do it justice if they're going to be making a show surrounding like topics like sex. I'm really sorry for the lighting changing. The sun is going down, so naturally. Storyline is well fleshed out. The writers, the creators, they're very intentional with like the dialogue and like how it all gets brought up. I do think Sex Education tackles these topics really well, and I want to see more shows like this. It's so important for kids to be able to like bring up these topics and question their ideals and talk to their friends, talk to their parents, talk to any trusted like, I don't know, authority figure who can answer these questions for them and have these conversations with them. That's way better than like anything that Riverdale has ever brought up. I just challenge everyone next time that they watch a show or a movie or anything like that to think about the characters, think about the stories being told, think about, be like, is this too white? Is this too heteronormative? Is this too much of like what already like most of the film industry is made up of? Ask yourself these questions and then be more intentional in finding a media that makes you happy and has a storyline that like really reels you in and has characters that are diverse and like do have like complex identities to them. As much as the person creating the media is intentional with what they've made, you can also be intentional with what you choose to consume. That's my little media literacy lesson for today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you for the next video.